Start winning at the races with Daily Racing Form's new Mobile Pass performances, featuring exclusive buyer speed figures and expert analysis and selections. Go to drf.com/best and get the power of DRF in the palm of your hand. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at race number 11 at Churchill Downs on Kentucky Oaks Friday. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 1. La Troienne. Fillies and mares going 1 1/16. The sensational Monomoy girl is back. She's 4-5 on the morning line, and deservedly so, Mike. She bested Vexatious when they last met in New York. All Vexatious did was come back and take down champion Midnight Bisou.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, Monomoy girl certainly has looked pretty good since she's returned from that long layoff with 2 victories. Vexatious, though, she's been good in her own right there. She's going for a pretty heady double here.
It's an interesting time form U.S. pace projector, to be sure. We know Monomoy girl has wonderful tactical speed, can be placed just about anywhere. I agree that Lady Kate can make the lead in here, providing a very nice target for Monomoy girl on the outside. But Vexatious, the number two, in her last couple of races has shown the ability to stay close. And I think Tyler Gaffalione's going to try to stay closer.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And he's got a great inside post from which to do so, Dan. It certainly, in my opinion anyway, made the difference in the personal ensign last time, where she got ahead of Midnight Bisou and held her off. And we'll see if she can get ahead of Monomoy girl this time, because she couldn't do it in the Ruffian, but she might be able to do it here.
Let's watch the number 1 Horologist's most recent race. It was a breakthrough performance in the Grade 3 Molly Pitcher. She's in the orange silks on the outside. She's collaring a big long shot. She has to work, but she does get by. I think there are 2 reasons why some people are going to look at this race a little bit cockeyed. 1, Horologist is a Monmouth horse for course. 5 of her 6 lifetime wins have come at Monmouth. And 2, the Molly Pitcher was just such a weird race. The major fancied horses in the race didn't show up at all, and Horologist earned a buyer that was far and away the best she'd ever earned in his career. Maybe you could question it a bit.
I mean, maybe you could. It certainly felt like it came out of nowhere. On the other hand, the horses that ran second and third did come back and, run similarly well last Sunday at Saratoga in the Shoe V. They finished second and third in that race, and they sort of, backed up their figures to a certain extent there. So maybe that race really was that fast. And if it was, I mean, it sort of suggests that Horologist has a real chance here.
The 2 is Vexatious, and we've always liked Vexatious. She's always been a hard hitter on turf or dirt. She gave Monomoy girl a tiny bit of a scare in the 1-turn Ruffian 2-back. Last time out, they stretched her out to 1 1/8, which might very well be her best distance on dirt. And let's watch this performance. As Mike mentioned, she got the jump. She's in the yellow and black silks. She got the jump on champion Midnight Bisou. She's going to come out just a little bit in mid-stretch, which caused an inquiry that was dismissed. Vexatious, though, very game in the lane to hold off Midnight Bisou. That's now 2 triple-digit buyer speed figures. Cutting back to 1 1/16 maybe works against her slightly, but she is in the best form she's ever been in.
Yeah, listen, she certainly is good going longer. I don't really feel like the 1 1/16 is supposed to work against her in this race, especially as we already sort of talked about, because she's drawn to a great inside post, and she can just get forward once again from down there and maybe land another really good trip. Dan, I'm not knocking the form this mare has been in lately. She had a pretty long history of struggling to win races. She seems to be over that. Her last 2 races are legitimately good.
With dignity, the number 3 is 2 for 2 lifetime at Churchill Downs. I think her most recent race was just a means to an end. It was her first start off of a lengthy layoff. She ran in the Groupie Doll, a race in which they basically ran 1, 2, 3 around the track. She was in and among horses on the backstretch. They let her run a little bit in the stretch with an okay gallop out. She'll probably do better here. She's going to have to. She caught a very tough La Troienne field.
Yeah, they're asking a lot of her here. I do think she's a pretty good horse. I liked her as a 3-year-old. I think she did some good things and sort of pointed herself out as a horse who could really improve as a 4-year-old. Unfortunately, she's only made 1 start so far. And now they're just going to throw her into a really, really tough spot here.
The number 4, Seracosa's kept some pretty good company this year. Horses like Serengeti Empress and CC and Ollie's Candy and Dunbar Road, who she faced in this race, the Delaware Handicap. And she was just outside of Dunbar Road. She's in the red turning into the stretch. She had a tiny bit of a look. Dunbar Road's just too good for her. She's a legitimate grade 1 filly. Seracosa, pretty game to run second. It was a good effort for her. I just wonder if this is the best she can do. And if it is, she's going to have trouble beating the big 2.
Yeah, she is. I mean, it just sort of feels like, as well as she's run in some of these races, and she has run pretty well, she might be in for more of the same here with the two favorites in this race, just both in really good form and running faster races than Seracosa is capable of running.
Risky Mandate, the number 5, might be the filly in the race with the most upside potential. She was graded stakes placed last year as a 3-year-old. I liked her seasonal debut sprinting, a race in which she didn't break very well, worked out an in-out trip and was rallying at the end. She's been wired in her last 2 races, including this race at Saratoga, going 1 1/8. Overall, a good trip. Down towards the inside, she's in the pocket. She's getting into the clear now. Isn't she supposed to run down Miss Marissa, even if you believe this track was a little speed favoring?
Yeah, Miss Marissa's a big long shot in here, got control of the pace, and Risky Mandate can't get her. This is her first start going long, and you can see that she's just not finishing with a lot of energy. You could see her get tired there just at the very late stages of that race. Now, maybe now that she has that race under her belt, she'll have more stamina underneath her this time, and she can improve. I kind of want to see her do that. I'm not really buying into her just yet as a 2-turn route kind of horse. And it's also just worth pointing out, she does not break from the beginning. It cost her in her seasonal debut. It cost her a little bit in the Shine again, and it cost her last time.
And maybe that's the reason blinkers are coming on to sharpen her focus. The 6 is She's a Julie. She won this race last year. 1 1/16 is her favorite distance, although last year's La Troienne was not as strong as this year's. As you've pointed out in several other races of the day and stakes previews, they ran her 1 1/8 after that. And she ran just fine in those races, but 1 1/8 is a little bit long for her. And in her seasonal debut, she completely missed the break against Dunbar Road. The Phipps was kind of a war of attrition. I know she won it. It perhaps signaled a return to form. I don't know if I love the Phipps now, looking back on it, a blanket finish down to the wire where she looked beat at the quarter pole. Last time out in the Molly Pitcher, she was cold on the tote considering her overall accomplishments, and I just wonder if she handled the track. She was hard-ridden and bad from start to finish.
I think you have to be a little concerned about her. The form that she's in right now, you have to be concerned about based on her form. I know that she won a grade 1-2 back, but as you mentioned, it was not a pretty win. Her other 2 starts this year have not been good, and they are hard to excuse that. She ran really well winning this race last year, but this is a much tougher race.
Lady Kate has won her last 4 fast main track routes, including this race, the Groupie Doll Stakes at Ellis Park. She went to the pace, and she and New Rue basically ran 1-2 all the way around the track. Lady Kate was best on this day, and while Timeform US in their past performances did not color code this race blue, there is just no closing going on. She'll make the lead in here, only this time Monomoy Girl's breathing down her throat.
I mean, maybe getting clear on the lead early gives her best chance to win, but I don't see the race that she's run so far that makes her a real factor in this field.
And here's Monomoy Girl. She's just a wonderful horse. 11 for 13 lifetime. The only blemish is a neck loss as a 2-year-old in the Goldenrod. And then when she was punished by the stewards in the Cotillion of 2018. Here's the Ruffian. 1-turn mile. She got a great trip in this race. Sat off a nice easy pace set by overmatched Mother. Takes over into the stretch. Vexatious is trying as hard as she can right now, Mike. And Monomoy Girl doesn't let her get into the race. Nice effort for Monomoy Girl. It appears she's back. From a buyer speed figure, this was her best yet.
Yeah, really good performance, and especially when you just consider, how well Vexatious ran in there, not giving an inch through the stretch, and then what she came back to do in her next start. I mean, I think it really does sort of point out how good Monomoy Girl's come back from that long layoff. And you know what? She's come back really, really good. I'm a little bit surprised by it, Dan. She ran well first time out. It didn't come back a fast race, but she looked good winning that day. She took a huge step forward last time. I think she's going to be very, very hard to beat right back.
Got to give the connections all the credit in the world. They took their time. She had colic. She had setbacks. You easily could have retired her with her resume. They brought her back. We're able to enjoy her as a 5-year-old. Let's take a look at our top selections for the La Troienne. My heart is with your top selection, Monomoy Girl. I went with Horologist in here. We talked about the reasons maybe to doubt the last race, and you kind of talked about the reasons to perhaps believe that figure. I also think she's going to drift. I can't imagine she's going to be the same price as Vexatious at post time. So we'll get that buyer that puts her close to the top 2 at a big price with her tactical speed, a small chance with Horologist.
Yeah, I agree with you. This will be a better price than the morning line has her. It'll be interesting to see what she does, Dan. She's certainly a talented filly. I'm taking Monomoy Girl on top. I know she's a short price. I'm very interested to see if Vexatious can pull off this double, though. Taking down Midnight Bijou and then Monomoy Girl back-to-back, that would be something.
It's a fantastic race. The Grade 1 La Troienne. Race number 11 at Churchill Downs on Kentucky Oaks Friday. Good luck.